Hi, it's Dr. Greg Emerson from the Treat the Cause podcast and YouTube channel. If you want to find out the benefits of microgreens, if you want to find out the benefits of growing your own food, if you want to find out the benefits of spirulina, dragon fruit, native bees, keep watching because that's what we're getting into. We're going to get started now. Hi, it's Dr. Greg Emerson. I'm here with Steve Grist, ex-military, ex-real estate, ex-mining. Now he's found out what he's meant to be doing in his life. He's living his dharma, living a minimalist lifestyle, reached his contentment threshold. And he's going to take us on a tour of his farm where he's growing all sorts of microgreens, and we're going to have a chat about the benefit of microgreens. So Steve, thanks very much for your time. Let's start off by doing a quick walking tour of some of the microgreens you've got going on. So
no worries.
Come over here with me because you and I are connected by a wire, so we have to be careful. All right, so what have we got here?
Okay, so we've got a mix of different colours, shapes and flavours on the tables, as you can see. So it's purple radish in front of us. We've got some purple cabbage behind there, some magenta, pink, or red amaranth.
Let's have a walk down
there.
It's beautiful colour.
So these are all at different stages of their growth. We've just sent out a whole bunch of stock today in boxes. These basically serve the restaurant and cafe market in Far North Queensland, Cairns, Port Douglas and Townsville. And we do a bit of retail sales as well, direct to Rusty's Market for the health conscious who love our product.
So what are these ones here?
So that's purple cabbage.
Okay, and those ones?
And that's your red garnet amaranth.
Amaranth?
Yep, which make a perfect garnish on desserts.
This is all very topical at the moment because of the virus issue that we have going on. And what I always say to people is that you and I are surrounded by 1 trillion viruses now. So we have an immune system. If we have to worry about every virus that comes along, we're in some trouble because we're surrounded by 1 trillion. Nor can we expect to be vaccinated against 1 trillion different viruses. That's why you and I, over the course of 4 billion years, have developed an immune system to cope with that. Just as a plant, you take a tiny little seed, throw it on a pile of soil full of fungi, bacteria and viruses, all of which want to destroy that seed. And that seed, of course, has developed a whole lot of phytochemicals, which it uses an immune system to protect it from all of those microbes. And one of the benefits of you and I eating these things, eating these foods, is that we're borrowing the phytochemicals that they have used. Now, of course, there's this big push now towards these extreme diets. You know, you either have to be a vegan or you have to be a carnivore. And I've always said, well, there's a problem with being a carnivore. There's a problem with both because we're not meant to be on extremes. The problem with a carnivore diet is, of course, you're not getting any medicine of the plants. And one of the reasons that people have moved towards a carnivore diet is they say that plants don't want to be eaten. They have developed these chemicals or anti-nutrients in them to discourage. And you and I were discussing that traditional populations for years found out about how to process plants to reduce those anti-nutrients and make them much more absorbable. But you were talking to me about how some of the benefits of eating microgreens. Tell me about some of those.
Yeah, so there's a number of different studies that are out there which show that on a per gram weight basis, so your broccoli, your brassicas, your broccolis, your kales and your cabbages on the per gram basis hold 40 times the nutrient content as a full floret of a broccoli plant.
Okay. So one, nutrient dense. Yep,
that's right. So they do have all your standard phytonutrient. They're more bioavailable for your body to absorb and to utilise because they're easy to break down.
Okay, so more easily digestible. You get more bang for your buck because you absorb more of them.
Yep, that's correct. They are chemical free and spray free, so there's no other nasties and heavy metals.
We're not ruining our microbiome.
That's exactly right. And they taste good.
Taste good. They're much easier on the gut too, obviously. I mean, I see when my clinic was up and running, I used to see a ton of people with multiple food sensitivity. Can't eat this, can't eat this, can't eat this, can't eat this, can't eat this. And sometimes that was related to the fact that we have forgotten the traditional knowledge about how to prepare food. Cooking helps break down anti-nutrients and frees up nutrients. Is one of the things that helped us in our evolution as a species with the ability to create fire and cook foods. The benefit of these is they don't have as many anti-nutrients in them because they're so young, obviously, and they're less damaging to the gut. So when you find that you can't tolerate a whole lot of foods that you're meant to eat. The problem is often not with the food, it's the problem with your gut. I always say if a cow comes to me and says that it can't tolerate grass anymore, it's not a problem with the grass, it's a problem with the gut of the cow, and that needs to be a concentration on. So these things, we've said, they're nutrient dense, they're packed full of medicine, they're easy on the gut, they don't need a lot of processing, they're not full of pesticides, and that they don't need a lot of processing. You can eat them straight off the plate.
Right, yep.
All right, good. So what else have you got going on over here?
So over here we've got a mix of we've got chervils, some broccoli, some rocket, some mizuna. We've got some endives over the back, some more coriander, some. What else have we got going? That's about it for the moment. Obviously, we've just had a tropical downpour up here in the Atherton Tablelands, and the weather at the moment is quite hot and humid, so we are limited to what we can grow. So we stick to about 10 to 12 different microgreens that suit this weather.
And you were talking to me about some of the benefits of the cruciferous vegetables, which you and I eat broccoli, but it's also broccoli sprouts. What do we know about broccoli sprouts in your health?
So, well, broccoli, your brassicas, broccoli, kale, and cabbage have all high content of sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is going to be the new one of the new key health terms, because they've done a number of in vitro studies, plus also rat and human studies to show that it has multiple anti-cancer benefits across a range of different cancers. So sulforaphane is becoming another household key deal, I guess.
Good for your joints too. The sulphur is great for your joints.
That's right.
Sulphur is very antimicrobial. And of course, the other thing about the cruciferous vegetables is they're full of indole-3 carbinol. One of the benefits of indole-3 carbinol is it stops for us men, it changes the way we metabolize our estrogen and stops us converting testosterone to estrogen. You and I want some testosterone.
We do.
Not some
keep that going.
Let's go and have a look at the chickpeas.
Yeah, vitamin A, K, and your B3s as well.
Which one's the highest in vitamin A?
Sunflower shoots are quite high, but all the brassicas basically. They're all pretty balanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And then, again, vitamin A is very topical at the moment because vitamin A forms a chitin skeleton around our cells which prevent viruses getting in. A virus can't cause you a problem unless it can get into your cell. So the vitamin A builds a structure around our cells, stopping the virus getting to the cells. If you keep your house secure and locked up, a burglar can't get in to steal your stuff. Let's go have a look at the chickpeas.
So these are just your normal pea tendrils. The variety's called P. Percy. So these are about 6 days old, these ones. They've just come out of their covers. You can see we've got ones over here with some weights on them. We put them on a weightlifting regime. That just forces the seed root to go down and establish a good foothold in the ground, and they pop up nice and consistent across the tray. And then we cut them at about 14 days, and then off they go to our customers. So.
Okay, great. And then we're going to move over here. It's a very interesting looking plant. It's one of my favourite. And this is the hemp plant.
So this is a hemp, which is specifically for hemp seed and hemp oil. So I have a special license to do that. So I'm just doing trials at the moment with a few different seed variants to see what is the most productive in this climate and this time of year.
And the big difference between hemp that is legal for you to grow once you've got a license is the content of the THC and CBD. So these plants here, which you have a license to grow for the seeds, are very low in THC.
Correct.
And very low in CBD.
Correct.
And we can legally use those. That's why you can buy hemp oil in supermarkets and health food shops now, because it's got medicine of its own, but it's low in CBD and THC. And then you can buy, in Australia, you can get a prescription for the CBD oils, which are high in CBD, but not THC. And then you can also now get on prescription the oils which have some THC in it as well. So there's kind of 3 tiers.
That's right.
There's low CBD, low THC from the seed. There's the ones with high CBD but low THC. And there's other ones with the high CBD and THC. And those ones are prescription only. But this plant is easy to grow.
Yeah, it grows like a weed essentially. It grows, it's very good for remediating the ground as well. So we'll be planting some in the surrounding area because it's very good at absorbing a whole bunch of nutrients, bringing them to the surface, and then very compostable.
In fact, I was reading the other day about the difference between using hemp fibre and cotton to make clothes
Yep.
out of it. So I'm really going to try and transition now. When they talk about cotton, they call it a dirty plant, I think, because it requires so many pesticides.
And water.
Whereas the hemp doesn't.
That's
so
right.
it's very easy to get organic hemp. So, and you can use it to make paper.
That's right.
And
So
clothes.
multiple uses. There's thousands of uses for hemp, plastics and
Right, yeah,
food,
hemp plastics,
fibre,
that's right.
construction, the whole lot. So
Okay.
there's a new revolution of hemp coming. It's starting overseas, and finally we're a bit slow on the uptake, but
Right.
we'll eventually get there, I think.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting my hemp clothes.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that. All right, fantastic. Let's keep moving. Okay, next stop, Steve. You've got your fish tank, I think, has gone a little bit slimy.
That's my.
I'm a bit worried about your fish in
That's,
there.
that's my primordial muck there.
Right, your primordial sludge.
So that's my this is my spirulina tank. So this is a IBC that used to have honey in it. So that's a food grade IBC.
Okay.
And so that's spirulina, which is one of the world's most ancient food sources, I guess. It's been
Right.
around for millions of years.
Because you were telling me I didn't realise this, but the Aztecs,
That's correct. The Aztecs were using it as a food source,
Right.
hundreds of years ago. Because
well, they're a pretty successful community for all period of
yeah,
time.
they built up a bit of a good complex of cities. So yeah, this spirulina is touted also by NASA and a few other, the WHO, as being a future food. Like it contains 60 to 70% protein, has a whole complex of phytonutrients and vitamin complexes as well. And it grows with just a bit of water, sunlight, and a basic nutrient complex, and it'll convert that into a very good food source, which is very bioavailable. to us.
Right. Okay, so great bioavailability and easy on the gut as well.
Yep,
It's not
that's
full
right.
of anti-nutrients. You're also telling me that it's found this incredibly unique niche where it grows. You've got to keep the pH of the water there at 10.5. Now
Yeah.
that'll stop just about everything growing, but this plant thrives in that pH. Is that right?
Correct. So it looks like it's a big green goop and doesn't look very appealing to most people. But I've had it tested and I'm doing trials at the moment to make sure it's all kosher, obviously, to consume. But it doesn't have any fecal coliforms, doesn't have any E. coli, doesn't have any pathogens, no nasties in it. So we can scoop it up and eat it just as it is.
Because they're
And
not going to
it's-
survive in a pH of 10.5.
Correct, yeah.
But this plant thrives in it.
Exactly, that's right. So we just basically give it a strain and we just take the liquid out of it. And then it's good to eat.
And you're going to sell it as a kind of a sludge rather than dehydrate it down into a tablet.
Yeah, so basically like a little pulp, almost like a 50 ml yogurt additive or for a smoothie.
And how do you use it at the moment?
I just chuck a little bit in my smoothie.
Right,
I've
okay.
done a few trials myself, but I'm going through a whole bunch of nutritional testing with it as well.
Okay.
Because I want to get all the data correct and to make sure it's all exactly.
And you said you can stick it on an acai bowl or something like
Yeah,
that.
well, people are doing mixed bowls, like
Right.
if you go to the States and Bali and places, that's quite popular there as a pulp. You get it added to your smoothies and bowls and whatnot.
I've just got back from Bali and I'm just blown away by their dedication to health.
Yeah.
You know, you can go in and you can order any number of 100 different Ayurvedic tonics and all these superfood stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it's like that's the default on the menu, not the little one tacked down the bottom.
right.
You have to work hard to find something other than that.
Exactly.
I think it's fantastic.
Yes, Auckland's a good place to go.
I love it. I just got back from there.
Yeah.
All right, so good. So we've done microgreens, we've done hemp, we've done spirulina. Let's keep walking. Okay, Steve, we're doing a walking tour of the exotic fruit forest. What's this one we've got here? This is one of my personal favourites, to be honest.
So this is a Panama berry, and it gets these little berries on there go yellow and then red, and it tastes like a bit of caramel. Once you
I used to grow them on my farm, and
Yep.
when people said they tasted like caramel, I thought, okay, I'll believe that when I tried, but I couldn't tell the difference. I thought I was eating caramel.
Yep. Yeah, they're quite-
Extraordinary.
they're quite
Look how
nice.
well that's grown.
yeah, it loves
That's
the berry.
amazing. Berries, of course, one of our traditional foods, low in sugar. I think all of us should be planting as many berry trees as we can if we want to be self-sustaining. And I mean, of course, the thing to do about berries is to choose the one that suits your climate the best. Mulberries grow amazing at my
Yeah,
place,
that's
but I'm
right.
failing terribly on blueberries.
And then black sapote. Next to
Oh,
that one.
I'm growing some black sapote.
chocolate pudding for it. Which
Yes.
We've got a couple of little ones starting on there now.
Yeah.
These beds haven't been established that long, so it's all.
Okay, I'm growing. I planted a custard apple as well.
Yeah. So I've got custard apple.
You do?
Yeah. So I've got carambola as the next one.
Oh, this is carambola. Okay, I think I had that on my farm, but I don't think it ever went. I think I sold it to the farm before I had a chance to
Yep.
reap its benefits.
So the idea is to make a long. I'm using some syntropic design here, essentially. So we do long beds, which we intensively plant out in different strata.
So what does syntropic mean?
Syntropic basically, well, things that are entropic obviously go to its lowest denomination. Things fall apart through entropy.
Okay.
Syntropic is trying to build that back up and doing the opposite and trying to create abundance and more of something. So by
1 + 1 = 3.
Exactly, yes. So stacking multiple species on top of each other all together, working synergistically,
Okay.
root mass, tiers, stratas, and then making the most out of that.
And that's part of a permaculture philosophy.
So so permaculture and syntropic farming go sort of side by side. Syntropic farming is a little more, I guess, organised in a sense. Permaculture is a bit more free-flowing, can be. But syntropy can make food forests and make them for commercial plantations, essentially. And that's what they're aiming to do.
All right, so fascinating.
That's the lemonade. That needs a bit. Lemonade. That needs a bit of so everything needs a bit of work around here, obviously. Cause
it's great to see that citrus grows really well in my subtropical area around Byron Bay, but grows just as well up here in north of Cairns. Fantastic.
So we've got mulberries here, and then if you come back a little bit this way, we've got a whole bunch of macadamias down the back there.
Okay.
And you can see this lower bed I've started planting out with different figs, custard apples, avocado, acai berry. A whole range of different.
Yeah, everybody's going to look at this and go, "Well, geez, the guy's got an enormous farm to do this." But I was just talking to Jay Jackson from Organic Motion. He's setting up permaculture areas on people's apartment terraces.
That's right. Yep.
So you can do this. You just have to work out how to use permaculture and biodynamic principles to set up a little micro farm on your apartment terrace.
You can do
because the way the world is going, our ability to produce our own food is going to become increasingly important, and taking responsibility for our health by the quality of the food that we eat. Can we go over and have a look at those mulberries? Because I just want to try one.
Yeah, we can.
Are these black or red ones? Black ones.
Black, yeah.
Black mulberries.
Yep.
Such an amazing berry.
Don't tell my daughter, she'll be out here in a flash.
Now, I was reading too that the leaves, you can boil the leaves for some medicinal benefits.
Anti-parasitic.
Anti-parasitic,
yep.
yeah.
Worms and whatnot. So
red juice.
Mulberry tea is quite a popular one. Same thing with Rollinia as well. It's quite popular.
Oh, seriously?
Rollinia leaves and small sticks, etc.
They are delicious.
Yeah, pretty good, hey?
Oh, I'm going to get that one. While I'm here, I might as well. While I'm blind of medicinal food.
So going back to your apartment comment, I mean, I grew up in suburbia as well. My parents didn't grow anything, didn't even grow herbs in the backyard. So everything I've learnt, I've done by just doing courses, a lot of trial, a lot of error, more error than trial. And just practice essentially. And here we are. So I'm growing a fair bit of stuff. I'm supplying a fair bit of food to myself, but you've got to have a go. You just got to start and try.
I hate to say it, but your mulberries taste much better than mine. I imagine that because mine are just brand new. I mean, the plant's only been growing for like a year. I imagine that as the tree gets a bit more mature, this
one doesn't have too much love, and it's down here by itself. We've got some more mature ones at the top that give us heaps more than this. So.
All right, fabulous.
Yeah, great.
So, Steve, these are some funky-looking hives. What's going on here?
So these are Australian native bees. So Trigona hawkingsi is the variant. So that's a tropical native bee. Don't hurt them. Don't hurt the girls, mate. It's all right. They don't, so they're stingless. They don't harm us at all. Have a little smell. Put your nose up to there to do a smell.
Oh yeah,
Smell that.
Real pretty.
Yeah, so that's their honey.
Right.
So we're just blocking their flight path at the moment. But we've got about 15, 16 hives, which we harvest about half a kilo of honey out of every year. We use that for the restaurants snap that up and use it on their little panna cottas and bits and pieces, so it's quite a delicacy. Also sell it through the markets, and people buy it for predominantly the medicinal value of it.
Right, you were telling me it's actually more medicinal. Studies now showing it's more medicinal than Manuka.
Yeah, so QUT or UQ, one of those ones, have done a study and shown that it has a more methyl glyoxal value in this compared to your Manuka honeys, which are used for burns victims and etc. So they've shown that native bee honey can actually kill MRSA, which is your superbugs in your hospitals and stuff like that. So it's super antibacterial. So when I have a sore throat, or if I have a little cut in my hand, it's getting a bit red and inflamed, I'll get a bit of honey and put it on there, or I put a bit of honey in my throat and sort of gargle it, and I find that the redness that goes away in very short order, in 20 minutes, or my throat, it does clear up a bit. So Aborigines have been using it for thousands of years. So it's quite a good, that's nature's cough medicine and healing balm. And
you can apparently have native beehives in your backyard without, it's not a problem, because it's stingless.
And don't require a license at all. Right. So I would encourage everyone to get, a hive.
But a little bit harder to get the honey out.
A little bit more difficult to get the honey out. That's another whole process. Yeah, so essentially you have different tiers in these boxes, and we try to encourage them to move their honey to the top box, so then we can take the top box off and harvest the honey.
Okay. And they make a lot of wax too?
They do make a fair bit of wax, yeah, if you want to extract that.
Okay.
I don't have a use for that at the moment, so I just use the honey at the stage.
I made a ton of candles out of mine.
Okay.
I love doing it.
Yep.
Such a good
I
process.
don't give lots of wax, and I don't want to disturb the hive. I don't want to make extra work for them if I don't have to.
Right.
So I just take a bit of the honey and leave the rest of the hive intact.
Right. Whereas for me, to get the honey out of my normal beehive, I had to remove the wax from the cells.
Yep, that's right.
Whereas you don't have to do that with this.
Well, you sort of have to crush or perforate the cells, but if you leave them intact, it just makes a lot less work for them to try and
Gotcha.
recover.
All right. The more we can do for the bees, the better.
That's right. Yeah.
In fact, I was reading a study today. Now they've now proven that pesticides are damaging the brains of bees.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
The world population's down 30%, and everybody knows that if we get rid of the bees, we get rid of our food supply.
That's right.
So
there's a whole bunch of contributing things that affect bee populations and colony collapse disorder. One's apparently wireless communications, like your 4G, 5G towers, is affecting bees and whatnot, and then all your neonics, all your pesticides and whatnot, which affects their health.
Our phones don't work out here, but that's probably a very good thing.
It is. So we've actually had the JCU come and do some studies on our bees as well. They were testing fungal values of different bees and how it transfers from your apis, your European honeybees, to natives. And all our bees here are perfect. They're fungi-free.
Right.
They're healthy little bees.
Okay. I mean, it's just an extraordinary food, honey, isn't it? It's the one food that doesn't go off.
That's right.
You know, it's sweet, but it doesn't spike up your blood sugar. It doesn't encourage fungal overgrowth.
That's right.
It's antifungal. I was checking, it's got anti-parasitic activity as well. So just an extraordinary food.
And I haven't actually got any left, but it tastes really good too. So I'm about to go and harvest some shortly. So
All right.
Next time.
Let's keep going. Okay. Fortunately, now we've come to perhaps my favourite fruit, the dragon fruit. I'm a cactus fanatic. I love the concept of how hardy it is, that, cactus will grow in such conditions where no other plant will survive, and I really fell in love with them when I was doing some work with and studying with the Apache in Arizona, and the prickly pear is a huge part of their diet, and they even take the petals and make them into prickly pear chips. And so I'm growing a lot of dragon fruit. These are the red ones. It's an extraordinary plant with an extraordinary fruit. And of course, once you've got one dragon fruit, you've got a whole lot, because you can just cut off these and plant them and they'll grow. And you can see there that there's one little one growing there. And of course,
the birds love them.
Oh, the bird's been eating this one?
Yeah. The birds get into them, they love it. So it's all right, we share.
Yeah. Even with the foxes, with my chicken, I was like, okay, you can have a chicken occasionally. The trouble with the foxes, they don't take one chicken.
Yes.
They take a whole lot.
Yep.
That's just, if you haven't had dragon fruit yet, you're missing out, because that's just, how can that not be medicinal? And that it'll be full of lycopene, it'll be full of carotenoids. It doesn't rate when you read about plants high in vitamin A, but that's got to be full of, that colour's got to be carotenoid. You're also getting those incredible seeds. There's no real prickles. Just an extraordinary fruit. So Steve has kindly said that when I visit people with dragon fruit, I like to take home a memory of them. So Steve kindly said I can take a couple of cuttings off his favourite plants.
We've already picked half the fruit for him.
I'm going to take them home and plant them at my place. Then I have this dragon fruit. This is Steve's corner. It's grow dragon fruit there. So I'll leave that one for the birds.
Yep.
Just such a beautiful tasting fruit. And any fruit that looks like that and like that, I don't need a scientific study to tell me how good that is. I'm not waiting for a scientific study. I just eat that stuff like crazy. And of course, barley. I had that every day in barley. It's just...
when they're on. You get a lot of them. So you can only eat so many fresh ones at a time. So what I actually tend to do as well, I get fresh limes and dragon fruit, NutriBullet, and just a dash of just raw sugar, just a tablespoon. Heat up as a syrup, and then put it through an ice cream maker and just do a dragon fruit and lime sorbet.
And again, this is a great example of synergy, because you said that we were flicking some ants off them before, but you said there's a reason why that we want to encourage the ants on the plant.
Yeah, so the green ants will help. They remove the aphids and other nasties that sort of get on there as well, and protect them for themselves essentially. So
All right, fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep moving.
So
Going. And finally, Steve, looks like we've come to a strange new planet, like somebody's growing stuff on Mars. What are we growing here?
These are triffids.
Triffids.
So this is vanilla. So vanilla is an orchid. This greenhouse is only 4 months old. We've knocked up a pretty simple greenhouse, and we've got vanilla vine growing up it and doing very well at the moment. So it's been here for 4 months and it's grown about 1 metre in that time. We train it up and down the pole a couple of times, and then along a wire, and that makes it nice working height for us when it starts flowering. So at about year 3 is when we start getting good flower set on there. We come through and we literally have to hand pollinate for about 2 or 3 months, and over that time that helps set the flowers to go to bean. So then we get sets of beans, and you get approximately about 1 kilo of green bean off that once it's mature. So we pick the vanilla, and then it goes through a curing process and a dry down process, and then that's when it gets really aromatic. And after about 3 or 4 months, then it's when it's ready for your vanilla bean paste. And yeah,
I checked on through. There's a fascinating story about vanilla. I can't remember about its origins. I can't remember. Can you think of any medicinal value? I'm sure there was, but I've forgotten what the medicinal value of vanilla was.
Yeah. So there's not much research has gone into vanilla. It's always been used as just a culinary item for flavorings, etc. But and its origins are in Mexico region. But now a lot of studies are showing that the vanillin actually has some anti-cancer properties and anti-cancer agents in there as well. So there's more and more research going on to that at the moment. But watch this space, because I think it's going to become another one of those future medicinal plants that we'll be using. So.
Okay. All right. Well, Steve, that's been just an incredibly inspiring tour of your farm. I'm glad that you found that this is your dharma. Having done it for a few years and realising how much work it is, I've got a huge amount of admiration for the work you're doing and setting an example for other people about growing their own food, and you're providing us with this medicine as well. I can't wait to try some of the spirulina. So thanks very much. I'll shake your hand. I was covered in dragon fruit. And we're going to come back in not too long and get an update with Steve, see how everything's changed, what's grown, what's been a huge success, what he's struggled with. So thanks very much for your time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Oh, if you want to support, remember, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share the video. If we don't share this stuff, the information's not going to get out there. And if you want to support my work, there's my Patreon page, Dr. Greg Emerson, where I do exclusive videos and write exclusive articles about how I'm using medicinal foods and herbs to keep myself healthy. So thanks very much for your support. Thanks for your attention. See you next time.